Welcome to For the Love of Art with me, Angela Pearden. Today we will be painting this seascape in acrylic. Okay, so today we're working on a 11 by 14 inch 100% cotton canvas. The colors that we're going to go today with are, for the sand color, we're going to use burnt umber. We're going to use raw sienna, and then that's these two colors. We'll mix these two colors together, add some white, and that is the sandy color that we made. For the watercolor, we used Southern Ocean Blue by Matisse and Carbon Black, which makes this deep teal color. Then I mixed that deep teal color in with the, the burnt umber and the raw sienna to make this color. Added some titanium white to it. For this color, it's the same thing, Southern Ocean Blue with this lighter sandy color, and then we added that to the teal, which made this color. Up here, for the wave, we did the Southern Ocean Blue and Carbon Black mixture and just added white to it to make different values of that. For the sky color, we used cerulean blue hue, and we use ultramarine blue, and we added quite a bit of the quinacridone magenta to make it more of a purpley color, and then we added white to it to make 3 different values of that color. For the yellow, we used Cad Yellow Light, and we added a bunch of white to that to make it more pale. For the pink color, we used the Cad Yellow Light with the quinacridone magenta, and we used white to make that a little bit lighter in value. Then in the purple, we used a titch of the Cad Yellow Light, the quinacridone magenta, and then we added ultramarine blue. On my palette, I have titanium white fluid by Golden. I put it in here and in here. So there's some here and some here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our horizon line in. You can take your traceable, determine where you want that horizon line at, which mine will go probably about right there. Take a pencil, mark that off. You can get our traceables on our Facebook group For the Love of Art. You take your painter's tape, and you want to go ahead and make that line as straight as possible going across. I'm going to go up just a titch. There we go. And press that into your canvas really good. There we go. Now we'll go ahead in with our fine mist sprayer, which is right here. All the supplies that I use are posted in the description below. I do get a kickback if you use the link to purchase anything. So I'm going to go in with my number 24 Da Vinci flat brush. I'm going to go into the 3 different values, get all 3 of them on my brush, including some white. My palette is a mess because I started recording this and painting this, and I forgot to hit the record button, so now I have to start all over. There's a little bit of a puddle right there, so I'm going to dab that up a little bit. There we go. So now we'll go ahead and paint in our sky. You want to keep your brush strokes horizontal. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of white. There we go. And you can go over the edges onto the edges of your canvas. I'm not going to do that today, so we've saved time on the tutorial. And so what I'll do is I'll just take the main color of the painting and I will paint my sides that color. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and pinch my brush off from that color. I'm going to go into this pink color that we made. And I'll go into a little bit of that purple. Okay, so I'm going to go right here at this horizon line. I'm going to drop in just a little bit of that going up. And there we go. I'm going to rinse that out my brush. Now I'm just going to go in with pure white. I drop in a little bit of that white in there. I'm sorry if you hear my pups. Okay. Now I'm going to leave that like that. Rinse my brush out real good. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more because it's a little bit too thin of paint. So I'll take a little bit of that blue, each one with that white again. And so that's what the bead looks like on my brush. And so you don't want to see your canvas. You want your canvas covered completely. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to leave that be. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and dry this completely. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the clouds. I'm going to go ahead and use my, let's see, that's the number 4 Master's Touch Round. I'm going to go ahead in with some of that. I'm going to go ahead and spritz my palette. It is a Sta-Wet palette, but the tops of the paints can dry out. And there we go. So now we're going to go in with a few little clouds here. So I'm just going to drop in a few. Let's see. And this one can come down kind of like that. So I'm only going to kind of like dab it in just a little bit. There we go. We can further define these later if we want to. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead in with another cloud, and we'll put one about right here. Kind of pull that out. And kind of go out a little bit right here. Okay. Now we'll put in, turn this a little bit so I can see better, or so I can paint it better. Then we'll go in about, let's see, about right here. I'll put in a small cloud there. Grab some more paint. And we'll put one in about right here. Okay, we'll leave that like that. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. And I'm going to go in with this pink color on my brush. I'm going to go in with a little bit of that purple too. And then we will go ahead and put in some of this pink color. Okay. I'm going to take that excess paint off my brush. And I'm going to go ahead and do small swirls and kind of swirl that in. Okay. And I'm going to go in with white. Okay. I'll go over the top of this with my white. There we go. I just blend that in. Let's get a little more white. Kind of do little circles. Okay, now we'll do the same thing on this one. I'm going to leave the white on my brush. A little pink, a little purple. And then we will go ahead and scumble in a little bit of this color. Little round brush strokes. And pull that out. There we go. Now I'm going to rinse that brush off. I'm going to take the excess water off of it. I'm going to go into this white. And then we will, let's see, go right over that while it's still wet, kind of in circular motions. Scumble that into the cloud. Okay, now we're going to do that with these ones. I'm going to go in with the white, or the pink, a little bit of the purple, and I'm going to do quite a bit of white with that. Okay, now I'll go ahead and scumble a little bit of that in. And take what's on my brush and I'll go in here and do the same thing. Okay, and rinse that off my brush. I'll go in with just white. I'm going to go ahead and scumble white on over top of that. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and get my mist spray again and spray that down. And make my white a little bit more fluid by spraying my palette. Now we'll go in over the top of this pink. And there we go. And there we go. Now we'll go in with this white. Get quite a bit of that on the brush. And then we're going to go ahead and fluff that cloud out. Make it bigger. with some circular motions. You want to see that the blue of that sky through the clouds. Okay, we'll come up right here, make it bigger. And then we'll pull out a little bit of and pull those clouds out a little bit. Okay. Do the same thing over here. Okay, we'll grab a little bit more of that white. Now we'll go over this bottom again with white. There we go. Go ahead and grab some more of that white again. And we're going to go much bigger here. Pulling it down. Go ahead over that pink. And grab a little bit of water on my brush. Put it down right here so I can make that paint a little more fluid. And there we go. And let's see. And then we'll go ahead and pull some lines from underneath this cloud. And we'll do the same thing here. And grab a little bit more of that white. And we'll scrumble that in little circles right over that pink. There we go. Now I'll go in with this white over here. And make these clouds nice and fluffy with circles. And then I'll go make them smaller. There we go. I'll go in with some more white. Go ahead and blend that in. Okay, and I'll take some of that thicker white. I'm going to go over this pink. And go in little circles right over it. You want to see that pink through the white fluff. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to my brush. Oh, that was a lot of water. And I'm going to put it right down here on my palette. I'm going to pull that off. That was too much water. I'll just set that over there. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of that off my brush, get it just damp with that white. And then I'll go ahead and pull out that. I'll go under this cloud. And there we go. And I'm going to go in with the lightest value of this sky blue, and I'm going to take some white. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and drop in a little bit of that. Just kind of dab it in. And then we'll go under that cloud. I'm going to pinch off my brush. With a dry brush, I'm just going to kind of push that into the painting a little bit. Kind of scumble that in there. Now I'll go in with some white. There's still a little bit of blue on that brush. And then just in little circles, push that back into the painting. And there we go. Now we will do the same thing with this one. I'll go in with a little bit of that lighter blue. I'll grab some white to go with it. And then I'll go in and add a little bit of that in here. I'll do the same thing over here. So if you take out too much of that blue in the background, that's okay. You can put it in back into the painting like this. I'm going to rinse that brush. Don't have to, blue will still be in the brush, it's okay. Grab some of that white. Kind of, let's get a little bit of water on that. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and push that back into the cloud, that blue that we just put in. Keep it circular. Grab a little bit more white. Okay. Now do the same thing on this one. Now that it's a little more dry, take that blue. We'll make a little more. There we go. So now we'll drop in that blue in a few little places here. Okay. Now we'll take some white. And we'll kind of scumble that blue in. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to take just some white, get that off all the way. Now we'll go into just the white. And along these edges, we're going to kind of put in smaller little circles to make that cloud fluffy. There we go. Because we're going to go over some of this with yellow, and we want to make sure that the blue and yellow does not mix to make green. There's no green in any sky. Okay, take a little bit more of that. Okay. And we'll take it over here. Kind of just gently put in little circles. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more. The more layers you put, and the more transparent layers that you put, the more realistic your painting will get. This painting isn't going to be super realistic because I don't want it to be 10 to 12 hours long. The more time you put into a painting, in my opinion, the more realistic you're going to make that painting. Okay. Now we'll go over this right here. Just kind of do little swirls. Okay. Then we'll do this one right here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I'm going to go into the bottom here first before we do the yellow. I'm going to grab a little bit of this lighter blue, a little bit of this medium blue, and I'll grab a little bit of white. So I got a pretty good bead on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and kind of go up underneath there and get a little bit more blue. That's too light. And you want this to flow off your brush pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of water here. I'm going to set that water right there. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of the two colors with a little bit of white and add some water to that. Go ahead and there we go. Drop that in. Make sure you keep your brush strokes horizontal. Do the same thing under this one. I'll go ahead and turn my brush or my canvas. There we go. Let's see. I'll do the same thing right in here. Get all three colors. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of that. And break some of that pink and purple up. Put some blue into that. Okay. Let's see. Just add a little bit in here. Well, the top of the wave will probably go right here, so you probably won't even see that I just put down. Okay. You go in with this kind of watery part that I put down, and I'm going to blend this just a little bit better while my paint's still wet. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse my brush really good, and then I'm going to go into the clear water to make sure all that blue's off my brush. I'm going to take some of this white, and I'm going to drop it over here by this yellow. I don't want my blues and my yellows mixing at all, so I have them on two different palettes. Go in with a very pale yellow. If you mix too much paint for your palette, you can order little containers and put your pre-mixed paints in those containers, and when you do another painting, you can just pull it out and use it, so you're not wasting. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to drop in a little bit of this yellow just along this edge here. I'm going to take my finger and kind of push it in. Right along here. Just a little bit there. Then we'll do the same thing in here. I'm going to go ahead and push that in. Just at the tips of these clouds. Then we'll go over this white one last time. And there we go. Okay, so I got a lot of water on my brush. I'm going to set it right here. I'm going to take that white. I'm going to mix that white to make it very thin paint. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a little bit of that off my brush. Let's go over. I added too much water. Alright, so now we'll grab a little bit more of that titanium white into that dollop of water that we put. There we go. Need it just a titch thicker. Okay, so I only have a very little bit on my brush. I'm going over that yellow, it'll push it back, but it's still going to show through. Okay. We are almost done with these clouds. If you're worried about your paint being too thin and it flaking off your canvas, you can varnish it, and we'll not do that. You can work in as many thin layers as you want. All you have to do is varnish your painting when you're done. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of the thicker white. I'm going to go over here. Let's see. I'm going to put a few little circles in here at the bottom. I'm going to pull a couple little wispies. There we go. And break up a little bit where it doesn't have quite enough white. And there we go. Grab a little bit more white. And there we go. And don't overthink this. If you find yourself like overthinking it, you can always come back to it. You don't have to do all the clouds at one time. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow dry this. Okay, so I want to blend these just a little bit more. They're not quite blended enough for my liking. So I'm going to go in with this lighter value of the blue. I'm going to grab some white. Okay. And I want to go ahead and soften up a little bit of this. Let's see. I'll go ahead and right here at the end of that cloud, right here at the bottom. You probably hear my roosters crowing. There we go. Okay, now throw in just a little bit of that blue. Okay, I'll grab some more of that. I'll work over here. I'm just going to go ahead and put in a little bit of that blue within these clouds. Pull it underneath here. Yeah, that's looking better. Okay, this one over here. Okay. I'll add a little bit to this one. Okay. And I'm going to go in with my white because I don't like the shape of this cloud too much. And I'm going to adjust the shape just a little bit. Go into that blue a little bit. Okay, now I need to get a little bit of that, make the paint a little thicker on my brush. And less water. It's all about just making layers. There we go. And this one needs to be a little fluffier. And that yellow is still shining through that we put down. And there we go. And then we will add a little bit more of an opaque white. Now go lightly over it, over the blue here. Then I'm going to go into this cloud and kind of make that a little bit more opaque. Not so transparent. Go over that blue just a little bit. Don't want any harsh brush strokes. Okay, so I'm going to leave that be. If I need to come back to it to change anything later, I will. Okay, now I'm going to blow dry this. Okay, I am still not liking these clouds. So I'm going to go in with my, let's see, I'm going to go in with my filbert. It's a number 8 filbert. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of this white. I'm going to make little circles of my filbert. That's a little better. Okay, grab a little bit here. Do little circles with my filbert. This is a very watered down white, which makes it very transparent. I'm still doing small circles. Let's grab a little bit more of that white. This is more of a stiffer bristle filbert. It's by Robert Simmons, number 8. Grab a little bit more of that white. Okay, I'm liking that quite a bit better. Just had to change out my brush. Okay. Now I think I'm going to go in with just a touch of that pink and a touch of that purple. Trying to just kind of pull some through here. Let's kind of put it in a few small little areas. Okay. I'll go ahead and turn my canvas. Okay. I'm going to leave that like that. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I'm going to go ahead and dry this because I'm going to have to put the tape up here. So let's go ahead and dry our canvas. Okay, now that our canvas is dry, I'm going to go ahead and put in the water. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and put our tape back on and we'll line it up the best we can. It's okay if a little bit of that purple peeps out because you're going to want to make it to where the purple is showing just a little bit because you don't want a line in between the two colors. Go ahead and push that down good. Alright, so the back is going to be a little darker. I'm going to go in with, make sure that brush is nice and cleaned. I'm going to go in with a little bit of this darker value of that teal color, the medium and the light. So the bead will kind of look like that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and throw on some of this water. Okay. And leave that be. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and with just the medium value. I'm not going to rinse my brush. I'll go in with a medium value here. And let's see, I'm going to go down to about an inch up from the bottom of the canvas. And if you don't want to do the beach wave and you just want to do water with the shoreline, you absolutely can. I'm going to go ahead and spritz my canvas down. Just a little bit. And keep it wet. And if you're not wanting to do the beach wave and you're just wanting to do water, add all three colors to get some variation. Okay, I don't know why my tummy always growls when I'm on camera. Go ahead and keep your brush strokes horizontal. Okay, so if we look at our reference right here, so we put our horizon line about right there. We're not going to touch it to there. So it goes about an inch and a half up all the way to about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my color out. Okay. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of the burnt umber, the raw sienna, a little bit of that, the lighter value of them both mixed together. Go right into that green, or that teal. We're just laying down color right now. I'm going to grab just white, or not white, the lighter value. And go all the way into that green, or that teal. Okay. Need a little bit right here because the canvas is still going through. You can spritz it with a little bit of water. You kind of keep that paint flowing so you're not dry brushing it onto your canvas. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and dry this. We have many layers to go over this. And so I'm rinsing out my brush. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and take this tape off. And set that to the side. There's a little bit of dry brush in here, but that's okay. We're going to be going over that with many layers. So if you did leave a little bit in there, I have a little droplet of water, but I'm just going to go ahead and dry it. Okay, make sure that your canvas is fully dry. Now I'm going to go ahead in with my traceable. I'm going to line up where I put that horizon line. And that's about right there. About like that. I'll go ahead and tape that down. I use my favorite transfer paper is the Sorrel transfer paper. This is not linked below, but I will get it linked. So you're going to take your tracing paper, go under it. You can trace it exactly how I have it, or you don't have to. I'm not going to trace every little thing on here. I'm just going to go ahead and take and do kind of like a swoop like that, and then I'll come in here and kind of just follow it up because there's another little wave, and then I'll go from here and I'll go down about like that. Let's see how well it traced. Oh, well, some of it wasn't on there. Okay. So I'll start from about right here, go all the way down from here. Got to move the tracing paper around for it to trace. Okay, I'll go in right here at the top, just a little better. Kind of just, there we go. Okay, now we'll start in with a wave. Actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put in my bottom half of that as well. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit more because I'm going to make my wave a little bigger. So I'm going to go about 1 inch up and start my coastline, the line of the water meeting the sand. I'll start it at about right there. And so with the traceable, you can put it anywhere you want on the canvas to make it how you want your painting. So we'll put it about like that. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of use that. You can use a darker color if you'd like versus a white. You can barely see that. I can see it, but y'all probably can't. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab darker color here. And so I also use a Master's Touch Graphite. I use this for my watercolor paintings. And so this will probably show up a little better. Yeah, that showed up quite a bit better. So I'll go ahead and use that up top as well. Actually, I can see that pretty good. Okay, put that to the side. Put this tracing to the side. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and use my big brush for now. Okay, we will go ahead in with the medium to light value. And we're going to go ahead from this bottom line and we're going to just swoosh the color. Go ahead and a big C and then pull it out. Now I'll go in with a medium value. Which that medium value is already on our canvas. Kind of pull it down this way, do a really big C. Now we'll go in with a darker value and with a little bit of the medium. And we got quite a bit of dark in here. So I'm just going to kind of put that down all the way up to about right here. Yep. And kind of go in horizontal strokes. I'm going to go ahead and mist my palette and my canvas. So that my paints don't dry out. Going with a little bit of that darker value and with a medium. Going with a little bit more dark. And go ahead and pull this way. And we will pull it all the way up to right in here. Okay, spreads our canvas. We want it to flow. We don't want any dry brush strokes. Okay, now we'll go in with the medium. Kind of blend those in. We'll get a little bit more of that dark on there. Do smaller C's. Okay, get a little bit of that dark again. Okay, spreads down the canvas again. You want to keep it workable. Okay. There we are. Now we're going to go in with this medium value and with a little bit of the darker. And we are going to go in right in here with that. Not as big of a C, and kind of pull it down. We'll follow along that outline that we did. Okay. So now we'll go in with that medium. And we will go, let's see, right in here, and we're going to just dab that in. And pull that down, left and right. Now we'll be putting many colors in here. Now let's see up here, we will go in with medium value and dark. Okay, so now we'll start about right here and kind of do a swooshing. Swoosh it on down, kind of like that. Because that's where that other little wave is crashing. Okay. Go into both of them again. Put a little bit more of that swooshing in there. Okay. Let's see. Now we're going to go in with a little bit of this greenish color that we made. It's the same as swooshing into the ocean. And we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of that in. It's like a muddy color. Let's kind of blend some of that in. Okay. I'm going to pinch my brush off. I'm going to take a little bit, let's see, the dark and that medium again. And go ahead and drop some of that in. Going horizontally. Kind of blend it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, this comes all the way up to here. I'm going to go ahead in with my medium and a little bit of this again. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of all the way up to the edge of the shoreline here. Let's see. Go ahead and all the way to the edge here. Go ahead and spritz your canvas if you need to. Keep that paint workable. Okay, now I'm going to get some of that medium color in there. follow that shoreline right there. Perfect. Okay. Go ahead and rinse my brush. I'm going to go ahead and dry this and rinse my brush. Okay, so now I'm going to take my, where did my brush go? Oh, there we go. I'm going to take my number 1/2 inch black gold brush and go ahead and get that wet. And I'm going to go in with this darker teal into that medium. I have a little bit of dry brush going on right here, so I'm going to go ahead and flick that out. I'm going to go ahead and put a few small little lighter strokes in here. Then I'm going to go in with my medium again, medium value of that teal, and with a little bit of this green muddy color that we made. So this kind of swooshes up into the wave right up in here. Kind of blend that out. Now just go in with that medium teal color. I'm gonna go ahead and moisten my canvas so it spreads better. There we go. Get that paint moving. Okay. Now go ahead and rinse out my brush. Now I'm going to go ahead in and let's see. I'm going to go ahead into this area and I'm going to put in my darker teal. And then just under this wave, I'm going to go ahead and dab in a little shadow. Now I'll grab a little bit of that medium on my brush with it. And we'll go ahead and put in a little bit more of a shadow right in here. Go ahead and moisten my canvas a little. Now I'm going to go horizontally and go crisscross, or vertically and kind of at an angle and crisscross over the horizontal lines. That'll help create the illusion of ripples in the water. Okay. And this will kind of blend that out just a titch. We'll be putting white over this so you won't fully see it. Go all the way up to about right there. And then pull that all the way to this edge. Okay. Now I'll go grab some of this medium value and with that darker value. And I'm going to go ahead and the bottom of my wave is about right. connects about right there, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in just a little bit in here. Right on the edge of that wave. Where they connect. Some's going down, some's swirling in. And there we go. The top of that wave, we'll add a little bit more of that darker color. We'll go ahead and tap that in up here. And white will be going over it. We're just creating the shadow. And this shadow goes all the way let's see, yep, all the way. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to go in with my fan brush. I'm going to go ahead and put some more white on my palette because I don't want the sky blue in there and I don't want the pink in it. So I'm going to set that probably about, I'll set it right here. So I'm going to dip my brush. And just tap it into the bristles. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tap in. Let's see. Kind of goes. Probably have a little bit too much on my brush. I'm going to tap some of that off onto my paper towel. Okay, and then we're going to go up right here. And then we're going to go along this little edge. So the bottom of the splash is right here. So we'll start at about right here. Just go ahead and tap that in. Adjusting your brush left to right. Okay. So let's see. What do I need to do? That's a little. Let's see. It comes down about right here, kind of like that, all the way down to about right there. If you add too much on your, let's go ahead and rinse that. If you add too much on your canvas like I did, we'll go into that same color blue. Go ahead and dry your brush off. I'll go in with that medium dark color. And I'll go ahead and add in while it's still wet some, just kind of tap it in. And there we go. And then I'll go back over that here in a little bit with my Deerfoot stippler and make it a little bit more realistic. So now I'm going to go in with my round. Let's see, this is number 4 round. I'm going to go into my Midas value here. And we have quite a bit of lighter color up in here. And kind of swoop it. And just kind of do squiggles and swoop it down. And that goes all the way up to like right in here, and then we got a few little squiggles in here. Okay. I'm not liking this, so what I'm going to do is while it's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and take my bigger brush, and I'm going to go ahead and fix my mistake. Because I don't like how that looks. Okay. We're not going to take all that off, just the part where I made it look funny. And then we'll fix it. Try to get rid of some of those brush strokes. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my dark and my medium again. And then we're going to go ahead and swish down some more of that color. And there we go. That's better. Now you see how that shadow's right underneath that white. Now going with my round brush, I'm going to go in with my dark and a little bit of my medium. I don't want it super, super dark, but I want it pretty dark. There we go. Kind of pull that paint off of my brush. See if that's dark enough. And a little bit more of that. There we go. Alright, so now we have some little dark bits in here. Kind of just pull it through. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spritz my canvas down. I'm going to go ahead and take my 1/2 inch again. I'm going to kind of pull those. Okay. Now we'll add a little bit of these wiggles in. I should have spritzed my canvas before I tried putting those in. Because I want them to blend in good. And kind of pull some down right here. Then we'll kind of pull it through. And kind of crisscross. We're making the waves of the vein, or the veins into the wave. Okay. And it's just a little bit of a darker value than the background. And there we go. we will go ahead and take our fan brush again. Go ahead and dry it off all the way. Get another paper towel. I'm going to go ahead and tap in to this white and then tap it off on my paper towel so I don't put too much on it like I did before. And then we have a little bit of, so that comes down like that, and this kind of goes up into the wave right there, and a little bit up into the wave. And then that kind of comes down, and that goes up. And there's a little bit of a splash. Okay. We got a little bit through here. And then we have some that come down through here. A very light hand, tapping that in. Okay. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of that white again. I'm gonna dab it off. I'll go ahead and kind of pull it towards me a little bit. Now we'll go along this bottom half of the wave. All the way down. Pull it kind of towards me a little bit. Fill that in just a titch. That's what I was meaning to do earlier. Okay, then we got a little bit here. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with, let's go into some more of this white. I'm going to tap off the excess. And I'm going to go on the top of this wave, kind of turning my brush. Right along that top edge of that traceable that we put in. And then we'll fill the rest in with a Deerfoot stippler. Put a little bit right in here. Go in the center just a titch. There we go. Go ahead and rinse your brush. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my Deerfoot stipplers. I've got two of them. I got a small one and a big one. I don't know what the small one's from. My bigger one is 3/8 inch Royal Land Nickel. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that in and work it into my brush. And I'm going to go ahead and just always moving my brush around because I don't want to create patterns. Kind of tap that in. Work it into your brush. And face the point of the Deerfoot towards you. Kind of go along that edge. And so we don't want to create polka dots. Okay, now I'm going to go with my smaller one. And this one's a little bit more stiff. Let's see. And just throw in. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my fan brush again. Gonna lightly tap in. Go ahead and face that kind of towards you. Okay, we'll grab some of that white, and I'm not dabbing this white off. And so now all these colors are going to be within the splash of the wave. This is an impressionistic painting. It's not a realism at all. I can do realism. It's just going to take a very long time. Oh, let's see. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my brush at an angle, and I'm going to take the tip, kind of come down, make that irregular shape right there, just like that. And same thing like right here. And there we go. There we go. And now we'll put in some of the veins to the wave. Rinse out my brushes right quick. Just enough to where they don't dry out on me. I'll wash them when I'm done with the painting. So I'm just going to lay them down soaking wet so they don't dry out on me. I'm going to take my script liner, my 0/6, the low Cornell. I'm going to go into this teal right here with the green that we made. And then I'm going to go in and, let's see, I'm going to pull down a few. So these ones kind of come down. I'm going to spritz my canvas. You want your canvas kind of wet when we do this so that it blends in nicely to the background. Kind of crisscross them. Okay, we'll do that over here and pull that down. There we go. That's where the sand comes up into the wave. Now I'm going to go into the light teal. Okay. Now go ahead and pull down a few little bits here. And cross over them. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the medium value here. Well, we'll go with this one that we made already. It's not already. No, it's not. Okay. I'm going to spritz my canvas again. And then I'll go from about right in here, do a couple little wiggles. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with my round brush, and then I'll go in with this, the burnt umber and the raw sienna, I think it is. Let's see, is it raw sienna? Yes. So it's burnt umber and raw sienna. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in little points within here, just kind of dabbing it in. In little areas. Okay. And I'll rinse that off. And I'm going to go in with my fan brush again. And that's a number 6 Royal Soft Grip. I'm going to go into my lightest value of that brown. I'm going to dab off some of that paint. And I'm just going to kind of go right above that line right there. I'm going to move in my paintbrush around so I don't get a bunch of like the same pattern over and over again. Then we're going to leave that there. Now I'm going to go in with my, we'll go in with a bigger flat brush. I'm going to go into this light color right here. And I'm going to go in with that brown. Okay, now I'm going to go in with that, the darker brown and the raw sienna with a little bit of that light. There we go. I'll go in with that little bit of teal. Okay, I'm going to pull that off my brush. I'm going to spritz my canvas, get it workable again. I'm going to pull it in. Let's see. There we go. There we are. Now I'm going to leave that like that. Now we're going with a little bit of this darker brown and that raw sienna and a titch of that lighter brown. Okay, I'm going to spritz my canvas. Go right up along that edge of the Okay, pull it from here, go horizontally. And there we go. Gonna go ahead and right side it. Now I'm gonna go in with my Deerfoot stippler, and I'm gonna go in with this white. And I'm gonna go ahead and dab in a little bit of the sea foam. That's kind of splashing up a little bit. And those colors will kind of mix together because my canvas is still wet. And then we'll go in with a little bit more brown. Get a little bit more of that white. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and rinse that out. I'm going to go ahead in with this brush. I'm going to go in with my muddy color right here. Grab a little bit of that teal, the medium teal. I'm going to go ahead and pull this like that. Kind of pull that in. And there we go. I'm going to leave that be. Now I'll go in with my round brush. I'm going to go in with a for Umber Raw Sienna. I'm just going to tap in just a little bit here and there. Kind of push it in with my finger. Let's see, where else is this? Put some in here. Put some in there. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my, where is it, my round brush. I just had that. I threw it down too quickly. I'm not quite happy with my sky. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this white. And I'm going to grab a little bit of water. And water that down just a little bit. Not too much. Okay, I'm going to pull some of that off. I made this just a titch too bright. I do want it bright, just not that bright. Kind of push it back. In little circles. And there we go. Now I'm just putting a very light wash over this. Usually when I do my clouds, I use a blending brush like this, and I make them fluff out, like completely fluff out. But I did a different technique today. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my fan brush. Get that nice and loaded. I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to pull away from me towards the direction that I want the splatter. So I'm going to put my hand right here because I don't want it to go down too far. Well, that's not. Let's do it the stiffer brush here. Let's see. We'll do the Deerfoot stippler. The small one. It's stiffer, I think. We'll try the Deerfoot. Okay. So hold. There we go. Just kind of flick out some of the splatter of the wave. Just kind of flicking that on there. I'm not doing too much. The stiffer the brush, the bigger the splatter will be. Let's do a few little splatters. There we go. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that one's really going to this. But that blue because I ran out of blue, or white because I ran out of white over here. Let's try this one. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay. So I'm going to take some water on my brush. Grab some of this white. Go ahead and get it in there, make it real fluid. There we go. Gotta make it fluid enough. The wave, I'm having the splash go this way. And then right here, I'll have it splash up. There we go. A couple little splashes down. And then a couple of small ones there. So you want a very stiff bristle brush for this. There we go. All right, well, our tutorial is done. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope y'all paint it with me, and if you do, please post it in our Facebook group. I would absolutely love to see your painting. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe.